to the Talking Bout pod, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, TW. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes here with me. Welcome to the YouTube era. I'm coming to you from the luxurious Talking Bout studios here at an undisclosed location. And it's definitely my basement, dog. But for those of you that can see me on the YouTube, thank y'all so much. Real quick before we get started, go ahead and just hit that like button so everyone knows that you like this video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Help me get my followers up on this page here. Go ahead and drop a comment down in the comment section below. Tell me how much you like this. Tell me how much you hated it. Whatever you feel, I want to know. I need to know, okay? Go ahead and hit the notification bell so that you get notified each and every time I drop some brand new fire content on this page. And yeah, you're here. I'm here. So without further ado, let's do this. First things first, let me go ahead and thank the black delegation for bringing me back into the game, okay? I've been going for a little bit. I started this podcast a while ago, but I kind of got away from it, and I was just doing some other things. I had some friends who, have some good fun fire podcasts and some web shows and some different stuff that I've been doing, jumping on, just lending my voice to some other things. But I really had an urge to bring the pod back, and I couldn't fight it no more. So here I am. This is the YouTube era, and I have to say, one of the biggest things that really urged me to kind of get back on track with the pod is the what I call the Black Wrestling Delegation. Okay, this is some very, very talented people who are doing their thing out here in the media space. But we really have kind of come together as far as sharing and creating wrestling centric content in the Twitter world. I can't go this far without talking about my broski, my man Brian H. Waters. I call him affectionately the godfather of black wrestling media, because my man, he's connected so many people who probably wouldn't otherwise know each other, but because we all kind of, have some sort of interaction with Brian, whether have worked with him or networked with him, met him at NABJ or something, and he really just connected me to, all these great people. Shout out to the Black Wrestling Pod. In my opinion, they got one of the best pods out right now. I consider them the leaders of the new school as far as this wave of black wrestling media that's really pushing, pushing the conversation right now on social media as far as the way people are looking at wrestling and wrestlers and what's hot and what's not, and calling out a lot of nonsense that's been existing in the game for a long time. And now we have a voice, and like I said, Black Wrestling Pod. My man Duke from Duke Loves Wrestling. Some of the best interviews you're going to hear in the wrestling game are done by those wrestling girls. You got to check them out. The Public Enemies Pod, the homie Graham. Listen, y'all really got to check out. There's a whole wave of black wrestling podcasters and content creators that are just out here doing dope interviews, dope skits. Some of it is a little controversial. Some of these people be getting riled up at each other. Some of these people be, coming at each other's necks. But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all want to see each other succeed. And, I'm here in support of all of these good brothers and sisters who are creating dope content and making sure that we have a voice in this art form that we support. I mean, like, if y'all know anything about wrestling, black fans have supported every wrestling territory throughout the history of the business. We've always kind of been there. No, I'm not kind of been there. We've always been there, and we've always kind of been ignored. Every now and then there would be a promoter that would come along that would push like a black star, right? Like back in the day, they pushed Junkyard Dog. Ernie Ladd got a little push, but it'd be like, one person every now and then. You know what I mean? And the reason why is because those promoters were able to just neglect the black fans that were sitting right there, right? There was a video that I seen circulating around Twitter it's been circulating for a long time, but my man Duke posted it today. It was an old clip of David Bowie. He was talking to somebody from MTV, and he was basically pressing them about why they don't really show black videos on MTV. This is back when MTV was like a power, right? When they were like the establishment, the thing. And, the guy had all the excuses in the world. He's like, oh, we need to show stuff that's like, palatable for the whole country. And, people that live in, another part of the country, not New York, not LA, they might not be as open to seeing a black artist. And, David Bowie basically responded like, hey, I bet you the black people would. And what does that mean, right? It means that openly these organizations, these companies that create content and push content on these massive platforms on this massive scale, that they've been openly and willingly neglecting the black fans. But, for tons of reasons, they seem to be coming around now, right? They seem to be coming around now. Listen, we're not stupid. We know why it is. We know why it is, due to pandemics and, different digital options available. Wrestling has been hemorrhaging viewers, right? Like if you look at the amount of people that watch wrestling at its most popular time in the mid to late 90s versus now, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much less people watch wrestling now than watched wrestling then. But the black fans stick around. The black fans stuck around. We've been there. We've always been there, and they're probably always going to be here. So the biggest company, obviously WWE, they set the lead. They set the standard. They set the trend for what the rest of the industry is going to do. And what have they done? They've been pushing black wrestlers. They've been pushing, we got Kofi Kingston 2 years ago. Then, most recently we got Bobby Lashley, and we got Big E, and Bianca Belair is getting the true star treatment. And finally, they're doing it. They're talking to the black fan. They're trying to cater to the black fan. Listen to the music that they put on like NXT. All the music in wrestling used to be generic rock guitar riffs. You know what I mean? Now you're hearing a lot more hip hop, a lot more trap bass. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff you hear in the music, and it's important to acknowledge, right, that they are finally talking to us. You know what I mean? They're finally talking to us. Now, some companies are very comfortable with not talking to us, right? I mean, like, they'll let us participate, right? They got a few of us on their roster, but we don't really get featured spots on everybody's show. I think y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. And we'll see. Maybe when they see their viewership start to dwindle, maybe they'll start trying to pull from the black fan base too. But right now, we driving this bus. And so, of course, I couldn't just let this wave go by and not hop on. You know what I mean? I couldn't let this wave go by and not hop on. So, again, shout out to the black wrestling delegation. I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm jumping in the mix. And I'm going to be right out here with y'all creating this content for everybody to love and enjoy. And speaking of wanting to love and enjoy something, does anybody want you to love them more than Cody Rhodes? Does anybody want you to love them more than Cody Rhodes? Because if anybody wants you to love them more than Cody Rhodes, you need to love them. Because Cody Rhodes really, really wants you to love him. I mean, this man, he is fighting. He is fighting so hard against doing what's right in front of him. Cody wants to be cheered. He wants to be adored so badly that when he first started AEW, all the fans, we all used to cheer Cody so much because we know that Cody was responsible. Listen, we know Tony Khan is the money man. We know that the Bucks have a major stake as far as being EVPs. We know Hangman Page. All these guys, they have big roles. But if we're being totally honest, this whole thing was started when Cody decided to accept Dave Meltzer's challenge of whether or not a non-WWE company could sell out a 10,000-seat arena, right? Cody replied to the tweet, said he accepted the challenge, and AEW was born, right? AEW was born. And so Cody is the father of all elite wrestling. No matter how you slice it, It's the truth. It's the fact. It is what it is, right? And the fans know that. So we always cheer Cody. We thank Cody for being the catalyst for creating a true alternative to WWE. Cody got a hero's welcome all the time when coming out in AEW. But over time, people kind of grew a little weary of Cody Rhodes. I think, it can be different things for different people. For some people, one day you look like a hero, the next day you look like a villain. People might get a little tired of thinking he's a little pretentious. People might think that he thinks he's a little more important than he is. It could be a number of things. But for whatever reason, we look up today in 2021 and Cody cannot step foot on the stage in AEW without getting booed out the building. And I believe it irks him to his core because he tries so hard to do all the old school wrestling pandery things. He wraps himself in the American flag. He dyes his hair blonde. I'm a family man, and he even comes out and giving speeches about how he's championing having a biracial daughter who's not gonna deny her black side, not gonna deny her white side, and people gave Cody a lot of flack for that. But whatever it was about Cody that rubbed you the wrong way, for whatever reason, he is sitting in everybody's shit list right now. And earmuffs. If there's any kids around listening, earmuffs. I'm not going to censor myself too much. I do try to keep it a little friendly, in case you want to listen to this in the car with your kids. I know when I'm riding around in the car with my kids, I don't play stuff that's got profanity in it. And so I try to keep it as least profane as possible, but every now and then something's gonna slip. It is what it is. Still love you. Sorry, kids. But Cody, for whatever reason, finds himself in a lot of people's bad side right now. And I believe it was last week, Cody was having a match with somebody, and he took off his weight belt. Again, another callback to the heroes of the 80s. He took off his weight belt and threw it in the crowd, and I heard the whole crowd chanting, "Throw it back! Throw it back!" And then somebody threw the belt back into the ring, and it was the funniest thing. I mean, look, pro wrestling, the unintentional comedy is 1,000 times better than the intentional comedy that they try to do. Little stuff like that. Tonight Arn Anderson fell off the stage trying to fight somebody. God, wrestling, please don't ever change. Don't ever change. You just keep being hilarious. So Cody really wants to be liked, but the people really don't want to like Cody. And here's the thing, right? Cody is fighting this perception that he's just like Triple H. Cody's been fighting this perception that he's going to come and dominate AEW because he can, because, again, he's the person who basically started the whole thing. And he's gone so far as to make a rule that he can never challenge for the championship. We'll see how long that lasts. He's, again, he does everything to present himself as the ultimate good guy, never going to flinch, never going to be the bad guy. And all in doing that, he just looks more and more like Triple H. And I'm saying, why fight it? Why fight it? Listen, there was an episode of Dynamite tonight that ended with Cody Rhodes was having a match with Andrade El Idolo. And for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me, his wife decided to jump in the ring and light a table on fire so that he could give El Idolo the crossroads off the top rope through a flaming table. And why? Why? You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. Why? Was it memorable? Sure, it was memorable. It was memorable. But I think that everyone collectively looked at that and said, why? Is that good? Did you guys love Cody more for that? Drop it in the comments below. I don't care if you listen to this on SoundCloud, if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts. I don't care if you listen to this on Spotify, if you listen to this on YouTube. Tell me in the comments below, do you like Cody more because he went through a flaming table for you? Because he went through that flaming table. I mean, there were pieces of the flaming table stuck to his back after he slammed Andrade through the table. And it was stuck to his glove. And excuse me, stuck to his boots. Like, you can see the flaming pieces of it. Go back and watch it. There were pieces of the flaming table still sticking to Cody Rhodes after they went through it. That was just dumb. That was dumb. And my question is that going to make you like Cody Rhodes even more? I mean, you got to respect it, right? You got to respect it. But I think what this is ultimately going to do, because if there's one thing Cody's not, he's not stupid. Eventually, he's going to realize that what the fans tell you is how they're willing to see you. And the fans are willing to see you, Cody, as the heel, as the boss, as the man who is using his power and influence to take advantage of the roster. And they're willing to see Brandy as your little minion, your concubine, your someone who also is a boss in the company, but is also taking advantage of everyone, because she can, because she's your wife, right? That's how the fans are willing to see you guys. And I say, why fight it? Be the baddest people you can be. People already are telling you they want to hate you. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. You know why? Because that's what makes wrestling good. When we can hate you, and we can openly hate you. Look at MJF. People love MJF. People rave about MJF. Why? Because everybody wants to slap MJF in the face. MJF's whole gimmick is, I'm going to say as much wild, rude stuff as I can until you want to either turn off the TV or punch me in the face or something like that. That's his whole gimmick. That's it. That's it. You take that away, and what is MJF? You know what I mean? So don't fight it, because it works. Just like it works for MJF, let it work for you. Stop trying to tell the people that you want them to love you. What I'm hoping that this burning table spot is going to do is this is going to be the fuel in a promo for Cody to say, look at what I put myself through for you, and you still don't love me? The West Coast ain't got no love. The East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Okay, that's what I need. That's what I need from Cody. I need Cody to come out and be like, I did all this for y'all, and y'all still don't love me? That's what I need from Cody. Because other than that, Cody, bruh, people don't mess with you like that. People don't mess with you like that. So you need to be what people see you as, because it is what it is, bro. And it is what it is. Whether you like it or not, people see you as the AEW version of Triple H and Brandy as the AEW version of Stephanie. So ride it out. Just ride it out and make the money. Now, another big story that I saw going on tonight. It's not a big story. It's a big conversation. It's not a big story yet, but it's coming, and I can see it coming. And there was a Twitter Spaces going on tonight by, some of the homies, Mimi Shells. Shout out to Mimi Shells. There was a Twitter Spaces going on tonight, and one of the biggest questions was, is Big E connecting with the fans as WWE champion? And personally, I don't know if that's necessarily a fair question, because as much as fans, as we're told about people's charisma and how people do stuff to go above and beyond to make the fans fall in love with them, the truth is, especially in a company like WWE, you can only do what's written for you. You can only do what's handed to you on that script and laid out for you to do. That's it. That's all you can do. And this whole past episode that we saw on Monday Night Raw this week, the one that has people asking if if Big E is connecting as WWE champion, this whole episode was built around a beef between Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Where did he do that at? Where they do that? If you're supposed to be the WWE champion, you're supposed to be the star of the show, the featured player, the headline franchise player. We barely saw Big E on this show. This whole show was built around, is Kevin Owens gonna deceive Seth Rollins and find a way to manipulate his way into making the main event match a triple threat? That's what the whole show was built around. And Big E was a bit player in a story about people coming for his title. And by the way, at the end of the show, Big E got left laying. Now, I get it. You don't have to explain the story to me. I get the story. I understand what's happening. But if Big E is supposed to be a WWE champion, again, supposed to be a featured player, he's supposed to come out looking strong, right? So just tell me this. Tell me, how many times do we see John Cena in the lead up to a pay-per-view at the end of a Monday Night Raw get left laying by one of the two heels, people that are coming for his title? How many times in the John Cena era, when he was champion, did we see the heel challengers start and end the show with the show built around them? How many times do you see that happen to Roman Reigns? How many times do you see the person who's challenging for his title start the show and end the show as the feature, and Roman gets left laying in the ring while the camera's on them? You almost never see that. I'm not gonna say it's never happened, because there's been 102, 11 million episodes of WWE TV, so I can't say it's never happened, but it rarely happens. And so, if you're gonna judge Big E, and if you're gonna compare him to Roman Reigns, to John Cena, to the great WWE champions, past, present, and future, then you gotta treat him the same. You gotta book him the same, because y'all gotta remember, I think sometimes as wrestling fans, we tend to forget. It's a show. It's a show. It's a show. And everything that's written is pre-prescribed from the hand of Vince McMahon. Okay? This is not the stuff that the wrestlers aren't making this happen. They're doing what's written for them. Right? So if Big E doesn't look to you as strong as Roman Reigns, it's because it's intended to be that way. So don't try to equate that to saying Big E is not as good as Roman Reigns. Don't try to equate that and say Big E is not as strong a champion as Roman Reigns. Big E is not presented as strong as Roman Reigns. And that's what it is. So I'm never going to look at Big E and be like, oh, he's not connecting. No, he's doing what's written for him. That's all you can do, right? If you are an actor on a show, you're not going to go rogue and start reading your own lines. You know what I mean? Like if you Tony Soprano and you supposed to get shot in this scene, you're not going to say, oh no, Tony Soprano wouldn't let this happen to him. I'm going to shoot the other guy instead. Like it doesn't work like that. This is not how wrestling works. So is it fair for us to be out here asking whether or not Big E is connecting with the people, when, again, everything that Big E does, probably most of what he says, is all approved? I believe he said he does get a little freedom to, do his own promos and stuff like that. So I'm not suggesting that everything he says is scripted, but the content, right? The direction of the content, the gist of what he's trying to say is all coming from the same place. So if you don't feel like Big E is as strong of a champion as Roman Reigns, then you don't need to look at Big E. You need to look at Vince McMahon. Because I'm never going to look at Big E and be like, he's not doing a great job. No, Big E's doing a great job with everything he's given to do, everything he's allowed to do. I think Big E's doing a phenomenal job. I think you got to be different. People are like, oh, I need Big E to, drop the silliness and be less of this and be more of that. Like, no, Big E's got to do exactly what he's doing. Because at the end of the day, when you look at Big E, right, does he look like somebody that could not bust you up if he wanted to? I don't think he does, right? And so, whenever he needs to be that, he is that. When he needs to be serious, look at Survivor Series, when he went against Roman Reigns. Was that not serious, all business Big E? Did he not look like he was going to a big fight? Did he not deliver in that match? Did he not look like a believable, incredible opponent for Roman Reigns? Did he not look like he could believably, incredibly defeat Roman Reigns at any point in that match? He 100% did. So you can't convince me that Big E's not doing a great job. You can't convince me that Big E is not being a strong WWE champion. Because he does look like he is one of the best, biggest, toughest, strongest guys in WWE. And other than that, I don't know what more you want. Because everything else is on production. Now, speaking of Roman Reigns, it looks like we're heading towards Roman versus Brock again. Great. Yay. Roman versus Brock. Haven't seen that in months, right? I mean, like, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, man, how many times have we seen this? I don't hate it, but I mean, we've seen it so many times. I don't care who's the face and who's the heel. And honestly, like, Roman has been such a polarizing character throughout his time that it almost hasn't mattered who's designated as the face and the heel, right? Roman's been booed at almost every turn in this situation. So even though Roman is playing the heel leading up to this, and Brock is playing the babyface leading up to this, is there anything really about this that's any different than their previous 97 matches? I'll wait. Please tell me. I mean, we still have the lingering idea of, is Heyman secretly on Brock's side or is he really on Roman's side, right? Like, this is going to be a lingering theme anytime we get Roman and Brock, for what will seem like the rest of eternity. But I can't lie. I don't know. I don't know what intrigue there is to another Brock versus Roman match. You know what I mean? I just don't know. Another thing that people have been talking about, clamoring for, is the idea of a Roman Reigns versus The Rock match. Now, I know a lot of people have been talking about this, and I know The Rock has big marquee name value. He's the biggest, highest grossing movie star in the world, but who really wants to see The Rock come back and take on Roman Reigns? I mean, Rock versus Roman Reigns at this point in The Rock's career, what good is that going to do anybody? There's no way that The Rock is going to come back and look like he can still hang with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is elite. He is elite at wrestling. Highest level of athleticism, highest level of performance of anybody in the wrestling business right now. Roman's the top of the tops. And The Rock, I doubt that he's wrestling for fun. You know what I mean? So there's no way The Rock is going to hop back into it and be able to really truly keep up with Roman in a ring. It's going to have to, they'll have to create something where it's some sort of, slow plotting match, which doesn't really favor The Rock or Roman Reigns. So, yes, listen, the people at WWE are the best there have ever been at putting together wrestling. So they will come up with some sort of match format that will, hopefully not make anybody look too bad in a match between Roman and Brock. Roman and The Rock. But the question we got to ask is, what's really to be gained here? The Rock's legacy is solidified. Roman's legacy is also solidified, but he's just still pouring cement on top and, just adding to it. But what does he really gain for beating The Rock? Because you beat The Rock, you beat somebody who's way past his prime, right? And what did you really gain? You know what I mean? Like, what did you really gain? What if you're The Rock and you come back and you beat Roman Reigns? I mean, what does that do? You take the air out of the hottest star of this generation? So what is really to be gained from doing this match? I mean, money, duh, right? I mean, you put a big name Hollywood movie star, because that's what The Rock is today, a big name Hollywood movie star, the biggest in the world. You put him on as a headliner in WrestleMania, you're going to get a ton of people, you're going to get a ton of eyeballs who are going to watch it. It is what it is. He's a giant celebrity. So you put him in WrestleMania, you're going to get a ton of people to tune in and watch it. But, I mean, other than that, if you're The Rock, if The Rock wins, again, what does that do for WWE? Again, the money, obviously. Again, I get it. The money, yes, the money, right? Because the WrestleMania is gonna do hella buys. I get that, but we're fans. Like, let's stop trying to talk about this like we are. Like we're Vince and Shane and Stephanie, like, you know what I mean? Like, this, you know, you might be a WWE stockholder, because this is what, you know, this is what people try to say when I'm like, oh, why are you so concerned about WWE's business? Like, right, I own some WWE stock. All right, that's cool. You own some WWE stock. Congratulations, right? But that's not really, you know what I mean? Like, that's not really your concern here. Really, you're just being a fanboy. You're just being a fanboy. That's it. You're just being a fanboy, and you have always loved WWE, and you just don't know how to, you know, objectively say, I don't like this, or I don't think this is a good idea. Because even if something makes money, that doesn't mean it's good for you, the viewer, the fan. And that's the conversation we're having, is as you, the viewer, the fan, is sitting here watching this, is this good for you? Is this good for you? Does this add to your enjoyment as a fan? I mean, and again, once you get past the name of The Rock, like, in a match with The Rock and Roman Reigns, what really is there? What is there? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And so that kind of brings us to a place with Roman Reigns where we got to ask, you know, what's really next? He seemingly has run through the entire roster. They're going to set him up now where, you know, he's going to keep, you know, having matches with people, but nobody really thinks that anybody who takes on Roman is credible. They're going to, you know, again, we're focusing on Roman versus Brock right now. Do we think that Brock should be the one to take the title off Roman? He could be, but the problem is WWE has done this before. They've kind of booked themselves into a corner when it comes to Roman Reigns. They've booked themselves into a corner because they've done so much as far as having him stack people and pin people and smash people and person after person after person, that it's almost like, who can beat him? You know what I mean? Who can beat him? Now, I'll give them credit. They haven't done this as badly as they did with The Fiend, right? Like, remember The Fiend? Remember The Fiend? They booked themselves into a horrible corner with The Fiend, right? Like, I mean, he was just, like, invincible to everything. Like, there was nothing you could do. When he had that Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins, I was like, short of a damn grenade or a machine gun, how the hell is Seth Rollins going to get a pin in this match? It made no sense. It made no sense. And then when you saw The Fiend finally lose to a horrible-looking jackhammer to 97-year-old Goldberg, it killed The Fiend. It killed The Fiend. It turned a lot of people off. And again, that's because you booked yourself into a corner. Now, they've almost done that with Roman, but not quite. Because Roman's had a lot of matches that have been very competitive and have looked like people could almost get the win if just maybe one or two things went right. Or maybe if the Usos didn't help out or something like that. So Roman has not looked invincible, right? He just looks like somebody, this happens in sports all the time. You get somebody who's on a crazy hot streak. And you know, they just look like they just can't lose at the moment. You know what I mean? All the threes are falling. The right hand is taking everybody out. Whatever it is, right? You can't do anything wrong. This happens in sports all the time. So Roman's on a hot streak, but it's a hell of a hot streak, right? It's a hell of a hot streak. It's the type of hot streak we haven't seen in a very long time. And so, whoever it is that beats Roman has to be somebody with a certain level of credibility. And I don't think it should be Brock Lesnar. But I do think the answer is sitting right in front of everybody's face. Swig of water. Y'all ready? The person who should beat Roman Reigns, take that Universal title off Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins. Seth Rollins is the person who should beat Roman Reigns and take that Universal title off of him. And he's right here in front of your face the whole time. Now, a lot of people might bucket that. A lot of people might say, oh, Seth Rollins, what? But if you think about it, who else on the roster has the resume that Seth Rollins has? Seth Rollins has done pretty much everything Roman's done, maybe even a little more. Seth Rollins has Universal Championship victories over Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Oh man, yeah, he's pinned Roman at a WrestleMania. I think he's defeated Brock for the Universal title twice. I mean, Seth Rollins, bro. Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins, he has enough credibility to beat Roman Reigns, and he's still kept normal enough where he could lose the title to somebody who's not a Superman the way Roman Reigns is. And whether you like Seth or not, and here's the thing too, a lot of people hate on Seth for a lot of stupid reasons. Like, a lot of people turned on Seth Rollins because he said something grimy to Will Ospreay. I mean, what did he really say? He's like, dog, I got more money than you. Okay, like, was he lying? But everybody wanted to hate on Seth Rollins for that. Then people was hating on Seth Rollins because he was on camera next to Becky Lynch, and people were saying, oh, it looks like they don't have any chemistry. And I think they were comparing that to the way, let's say, a Nikki Bella would look next to a John Cena. But you can't even compare those two things. You can't even compare those two things. Is Nikki Bella the same type of character as Becky Lynch? Not even close. Nikki Bella was clearly on that, I'm the head cheerleader, I'm the prettiest girl, and, you know, my boyfriend's the, you know, captain of the football team type of thing. Like, that was her jam. That's how she gets down. That ain't Becky Lynch at all. Becky Lynch ain't the type to come be nobody's cheerleader. So I think people wanted to see Becky Lynch come out, you know, cheering Seth on and him grabbing her and kissing her like it's the end of an action movie. And it's like, bro, like, you know, just get out of your own head. People have come up with all these things to hold against Seth Rollins when in reality, all Seth Rollins is an excellent professional wrestler. This guy can go in there and have a match with anybody on the roster, from Brock Lesnar down to Rey Mysterio, Austin Theory, anybody. You tell me who Seth Rollins can't go in there and have a great match with. He can go in there and have a great match with absolutely anybody. He's one of the few people that's truly on Roman Reigns' level in terms of being an all-around performer. In terms of the character piece, he can be the heel, he can be the babyface. The character he's doing right now is so off the wall and crazy and wild. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. He's still a top bad guy. I think he might have lost. Did he lose most of his matches against Edge? I think Edge was like 2-1 over Edge in their feud. But it doesn't matter, right? Because Seth is such a great bad guy. He's such an evil, crazy monster that he makes sense as your top bad guy. And so if Roman Reigns takes a well-deserved vacation after dropping the title, Seth Rollins can carry the show in his absence. You know, whether y'all like it or not, Seth Rollins is that dude. In this generation, Seth Rollins is the Edge to Roman's John Cena. Seth Rollins is the Rock to Roman's Steve Austin. Seth Rollins is the Macho Man to Roman's Hulk Hogan. They're right there. They're 1 and 1A. Seth Rollins is not quite Roman Reigns, but he's damn good. Damn good. He's right there. And so if you're looking for who could or should take the title from Roman, take the mantle from Roman, take the lead from Roman, and let Roman go put his feet up for a little while, listen, look no further. Seth Rollins, right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. That's it for this week. Thank y'all so much for taking the time out. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening to the show. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you drop a comment below. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that thumbs up, so you help boost this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, so that you have access to all the videos. Make sure you hit that notification bell, so that you get notified each and every time I drop some brand new fire content. If you're watching this, if you listen to this on SoundCloud or Anchor or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, hit the like button, go ahead and share it with a friend. The most important thing you can do is tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's bring more people into the conversation. I'm TW, and until next time, peace.